Get this recording. All right. So again, my name is Laura Lee Charles. I'm the Senior Manager of Network Engagement here at Interrise. And we do host a series of these webinars for our network of small business owners in an effort to really meet you where you are in developing your business. So some of the folks on the line, you might currently be in one of our Interrise programs across the country, and some others may have graduated recently, or even as long as 15 years ago. The organization now is 15 years old. We have programs in 80 cities across the country. So you are part of a vast network of small business owners, and I'm really pleased that you continue to show up for this ongoing learning. And I'm really excited to introduce a new webinar for us today focused on sales and marketing specifically for retail businesses and business-to-consumer businesses. So I am happy to introduce Kim Mitchell. She is a small business owner herself. She owns a toy store called Boing, which is actually in the neighborhood where I live and I frequent with my son. She's also now a business coach for retail businesses. And without further ado, I will turn it over to you, Kim.
All right, great. Thank you, Laura, and the Interrise community for inviting me here today. I am super happy and excited to be sharing with you what we're going to be talking about for the next hour or so. I know that when I purchased my store 9 years ago, what I am going to be teaching and talking about today helped me incredibly getting through some of the tough parts of rebuilding a store, which is what I did when I bought my store. And I followed a lot of what we're going to talk about today, and it helped. So I am super happy to be sharing this with everyone here today. So without further ado, we'll kind of jump in. Just a little bit about my background. I do have 30 years of business experience across government, nonprofit, corporate. So I have, and now as a small retail shop owner myself, so I have seen the way that businesses and staff and consumers work across a lot of different platforms. So I do have a deep understanding of how people interact with businesses. And I am now a certified business coach, which is the hat that I am mostly wearing in what we're talking about today. So that's just a little bit about me and my background. So by the end of this hour or hour and 10 minutes, I will hopefully have showed you tips and tricks. Tips and tricks for how to grow your business by 15%. We're going to break this down into 3 different sections. But just to put that in perspective, if you're doing $100,000 in revenue, hopefully you'll find some ways to increase by 15,000. If you're doing $1 million, we're talking about 150,000. So hopefully by the end of the hour, you will have things that you can implement quickly to grow your business. So let's start breaking that down. There are only 3 ways that you can grow your business. You can either increase your average sale with existing customers, you can get new customers, and you can get more transactions per customer. So you either need to increase the average every time they come in, you can get new ones, or you can get more frequent transactions from your customers. So we are going to walk through ways to improve in all 3 of those areas. But before we do, we're just going to lay out a couple of key concepts that we're going to be sort of hearkening back to and looking back on throughout the rest of the conversation. And I think we need to sort of do some level setting and get some of these key concepts before we move forward. And the first one, which is my favorite, or one of my favorites, I guess, is called the rule of reciprocity, otherwise known as givers get. So the rule of reciprocity says that when you give something to someone, human nature is such that they want to give something back to you. An example of that might be if you're approaching a building and there are 2 double sets of doors. You're walking in next to someone who's a complete stranger. You get to the door first, you open the door and allow that person to go in. When they get to the next set of double doors, what is likely going to happen? They're going to probably open up that double set of doors, that set of doors for you, because it would be a little bit awkward if they just stood there and waited for you to open it. So chances are you open the first set of doors, they set the other. You know, think of it, you get invited over to someone's house for dinner, you know, you get invited over one weekend, you're looking to have company the next weekend, what might you do? You might invite them back. So back over to your house this time. Humans are some of the only species that have been studied that create this web of interconnectedness, where if someone does do something for you, you feel obliged to do something back. So when this will make a little more sense as we get into it, but just remember, givers get, and there is a reciprocity that you can build with your customers. So that's the first key concept. The second one is called breaking even in the short term to break the bank in the long term. Meaning, sometimes when you are attracting new customers or getting new customers to your business, sometimes you have to give a little on the margin. You might not be able to make, you know, your full profit in the short term, but the goal is, again, you build up some of this reciprocity and goodwill, that in the long term, it will come back to you. So I would encourage you not to worry always about that first transaction or the short-term gains, because you're taking a long-term view and hopefully you're going to build that goodwill and it will come back to you in the long term. Next one, and this is very much connected to what we were just talking about. So I would encourage you to think about the lifetime value of a customer, not just that first transaction or the second transaction. Think of it over that long term of the entire lifespan of a customer. And that is what you are trying to gain, not that first time they walk through your door, but the long term in their whole lifespan. So let's put lifetime value, let's put some numbers to lifetime value. This first one is actually, this first column here is the lifetime value actually at my store called Boing Toy Shop. So my average transaction, is $25. On average, customers spend $25 with me each time they come in. On average, they come in 4 times a year. And on average, they stick with me for about 10 years. Either their child grows up or they move. But on average, they're with me for about 10 years. So for me, in my store, every single new customer is worth about $1,000 for me. So again, I'm not worried about that first $25 transaction, because I'm thinking of that longer term $1,000 value. I just gave you some other numbers. I'm curious if there's anyone out there that knows some of these numbers, if they want to put it in the chat over there, and it would be willing to share maybe what their lifetime value is of their businesses, if they happen to know it. It doesn't have to be exact, but I'd be curious of the folks on the phone if anyone wanted to share lifetime value. Is there anyone who...
We'll give them another minute.
Okay.
Especially those of you in the class who might currently be in the sales and marketing module. This might have been an exercise that you've done recently or might be coming up quickly for you. Well, anyway, so it's about, you know, this being a great mindset. But yes, a really good framework to think about.
Yeah.
To
not think about every individual transaction, but the long term. So anyway, so lifetime value. The next concept here is to realize that the only job of marketing is to get customers to your store or your business. And the store could be an online store, but it is to get people to your place of business. The job of your staff is to sell. So all you are doing, and when you're thinking about marketing concepts, you are just trying to get people to your place of business. That's it. If marketing has done that, it has done its job. The rest of it is on your staff and staff training to sell. All righty. And the last key concept is don't try to compete on price alone, because you will lose every time. So this should not just be, you should not as a business owner be trying to compete just on being the low cost provider. you will, especially if you're an online business or trying to compete online, you will never, as a small business owner, be able to beat the biggies. So I would argue, don't even try. You need to provide other value, other customer experiences, other reasons for people to shop with you, and it can't just be about price. Because even if you win, again, that first transaction, if you're not getting any margin and if you're giving your product or service away, eventually you will lose. Even if you win that first time, over the long run, you will never be able to compete on price alone. So don't try to do it. Think about the full customer experience and the customer value, and don't make it about price. So those are, just to recap here, so this is the rule of reciprocity: the givers get, breaking even on the short term to profit in the long term, lifetime value of a customer. Marketing's only job is to get people to your store, and don't try to compete on price alone. So those are some concepts that we will be kind of referring back to as we jump into it. So yeah, are there any
there's
questions?
a question that came in about lifetime value.
Yeah.
One business owner has 4 levels for customers: 1,000 plus, 500 plus, 250 plus, another. And each one has different behaviors and average sales. So she's asking, should she calculate to each or calculate an average for all?
I mean, I think it's just good. I mean, I guess I would need to understand who those 4 customers are, and I guess more about her business. But I mean, if she's able, it's just more knowing when you're trying to acquire those 4 different types of customers. So if she's able to know, I do this to get customer 1 and this to get customer 2, then it's actually great to be able to have that level of detail, because she knows what she can invest and what she should invest in getting each one of those types of customers. Obviously, the one with the highest lifetime value, you're going to be able to kind of give a little more on the front end in order to get them. So, I mean, I'd be curious to know what type of business, because to know those numbers, so that's great information to have, absolutely. So, all right, anything else before we jump? Okay, oh, all right, yeah, so if you were able to differentiate those, absolutely, you should know I can do a little more for those higher end if they're able to be isolated. I'm assuming maybe like a wedding type venue might be that higher level, so can do a little more for those. So most people, I mean, in my business, I don't know walking in the door who's going to be, from when they walk through the first time, I have no idea who's going to become that higher end, customer, but a florist might be able to differentiate that. So, all right, so there are our key concepts. Now we are going to kind of we're going to jump into those 3 different ways that I said we were going to try to be able to grow our business. Number 1 is increasing the average sale with each customer. So the easiest way to do that, the easiest way to increase your average sale is to raise your prices. One of the easiest ways to do that is there are a lot of businesses who will say, if I pay $10 for something, I charge $20, and it costs me 10, I price it at 22, and they just do this straight formula every time. What I would say is, don't just apply a formula. Look at every new item, look at it and say, what is the value of this? Because not everything, there are some things that maybe you got a good deal at $10 and the perceived value to the customer is actually higher. So don't just assume that if you pay 10, if your formula is that you just double it. I would argue, especially the first time that you get the product in, look at it, ask your staff, hey, what do you think this is worth? If you've had people who have been with you for a little while, they're very used to the perceived value of things in your store, and they might say, you know what, I know our formula says that should be 20. I think we can get 25 for this. So do it based on value, not just a formula. So the second thing here is end your prices in 99 cents. It is psychological. People think everyone knows $19.99 is $20. It's not true. It has been proven, it has been studied that people don't read to the right of the decimal point. So you think it's only a penny, but $19.99 is not automatically $20 in people's heads. They don't see that 99 cents. The other, if you are using 95 cents, there is nothing that someone will buy for $12.95 that they will not buy for $12.99. So it seems small, it's 4 cents on every transaction, but I see a lot of restaurants who will like price at $12.95. People are gonna buy it for $12.99. So if you're using even the 50 cents or the 75 cents, again, it sounds like it's only pennies, but if you push all of those up to 99 cents, you're making 4 cents, 23 cents, or whatever the math is there, 20, but those start adding up. So if you are a retailer or a store owner that is pricing on anything but the 99 cents, go back, put everything to 99 cents, and you will make that on every single product. The other thing, and the last point, is end your prices. The preferred numbers, and again, you know, there's been Harvard Business Reviews, and it's been studied that these are the preferred numbers: 2, 4, 7, and 9. So $12, $14, $17, and $19. And obviously 22, 24, you get the point. But these are the numbers that make sense to people. If they've done studies where something is priced at $21.99 and $22.99 somewhere else in the store, people are going to buy the $22.99 or the $24.99. And also, if you think about it, if something is priced for $21.99, no one who's going to buy it for $21.99 is not going to buy it for $22.99. And arguably, the end of my sentence there says they're probably going to buy it for $24.99. Some people feel a little bit like, I can't go from 22 or 32 or 72 up, you know, $2, but certainly you can go from $21 to $22. Once you get over $50, you really should be on the $5. Like $52.99 is just like a price that just doesn't feel right. Over $50, you should just be increasing it at $5 increments. Below $50, use these numbers. They work, and they will get you $1 or $2 of margin across every product in your store. So
I have one question I'd like to throw out to them.
Yeah.
And another question that came in. So for all of you on the phone, you can just, you know, throw a quick yes or no into the chat box. But how many of you feel like you are ready to raise your prices, but you are afraid to do so? Just a yes or no into the chat box. Couple yeses. Another yes. Well, I'm asking that question just because I did visit a class recently where they were having this I want to, but don't feel quite ready to jump on it. It's really, oh, there's one no, I'm not afraid to, already started. Good for you. But I've actually heard feedback from several business owners who, once they complete the program, you know, they work it into their growth plan. It's a really big deal to raise their prices. And almost all of them that I've had these conversations with have actually had their customers congratulate them on raising their prices. You know, yeah. We were hoping you would do it soon. We're so proud of you. You know, yeah. Their regular customers saw it as a real sign of growth and success.
Exactly.
And the customers were more than happy to pay the extra money because it meant that they were doing well.
Well, and it goes back to the first thing, they're getting the value. Yes. They're seeing the value. So if you're providing value, and value here also realize isn't always the value of the product, it's the value of the experience. It's the value of your staff knowledge, the value of the quality of the store environment, or what you do in the community. So it isn't always just the value of that thing they're buying, it's are they valuing the whole relationship. So,
and then one other question that came in, I've considered this question about 99 cents and know the studies. However, if you look at luxury retailers, they never use the 99 cent pricing. it's always a flat number, and sometimes.
Okay. So, yep, and that is a good point. So that's called prestige pricing,
Okay.
and that is true. So the other thing about the 99 cents is that people actually do see it as it's not full price. So when they see the 99 cents, they think they are already getting the discounted price. So yes, holding the full dollars, and that's a good point, and I will be adding that to my slide next time, so thank you. It is called prestige pricing. So yes, if you're in sort of that luxury or more luxury space, what it is holding the line and sort of saying, we don't discount. I mean, yes, there's going to be no jeweler that is going to be charging, $1,000.99. So yes, that is a good point. That holding the zeros, but again, that is the 99 cents also does give the perception that the discount, this is already a discounted price. So yes, that's a good point there. Anything else, or can we?
Just an interesting comment from one business owner. In their state, the minimum wage is going up to $12 next year, so raising prices is going to be for survival.
Yeah.
You may not see the profit on that, but it's going to have to happen.
Yeah, absolutely, yes. All right, so number one, raise your prices. The best way, however, I think everyone, if they can and feel like they can, especially if they're not pricing on those 2, 4, 7s, and 9s, go ahead and raise your prices. But the next thing to do is to teach your staff to sell, and that is how you are going to increase your average sale. So teach your staff to add on during the sale, meaning if there's an expansion pack to something or something you can add on, a parallel product that pairs nicely, teach your staff to sell. Too many people think of selling as sort of a dirty word, but sometimes it's really good customer service. If you're selling someone sunglasses, they probably need, the croquis or the things that go around their neck, to keep them so that you don't lose them, right? So it's adding on, but it is really good customer service to sell them a complete package. So teach your staff to add on during the sale while you're walking around the store. Always, always, always have something up at the register that they can sample or demo, or those impulse prices or those impulse purchases. I'm a toy store, so I have my staff playing with things that the customer can see us engaging in. We sell a lot of birthday presents, so we're offering them cards and again, you're adding it on, but if you know they're going to a birthday party, they probably need a card, right? So if you let them leave the store without a card, they suddenly don't have a complete purchase, like, oh, we need a card. So try to change that mindset that adding on is pushy. It's often really good customer service. So this next one about selling higher priced merchandise, I often see that retailers, it's called selling from your own pocketbook, meaning if you yourself cannot afford something, too often staff members or salespeople assume that whoever they're talking to also can't. So they end up selling to the level that they're comfortable with within their own experience. And they make assumptions about what their customers can sell. And again, you need to sort of teach your staff that you start with a higher price, and usually people will come down one level from that, right? So people, if you show them the top and then you show them the middle, they'll often land on the middle. But if you start too low, you could be giving money away. So always start higher than you think, and probably, 1 or 2 steps higher maybe than you personally are comfortable with, but don't make assumptions about who your customers are. And then of course, last, you want to teach your staff to close the deal, to ask for the sale, ask them, teach them language like, do you want me to take that to the register for you? Or do you want the blue or the red? Teach them how to study the customer clues that they're interested in this item and convert them into a buyer. So those are, teaching selling skills is a whole different, it is a process. It's not something that happens automatically, and I'm not going to go any further than this, but training your staff to do that, to really sell and have those strong sales skills, will pay off in the long run. So, all right, the next thing you can do is build bundles. So a bundle is obviously, if you are a gift store and you sell baby shower gifts, it's bundling multiple items together in a quick grab and go. Yes, these three things belong together, and this is my shower gift. Or if you sell kites, it's about selling extra string or the fancy tail that goes off of the back of the kite, and you call it your fun summer bundle. Or if you are a kitchen store around Thanksgiving, you can do all the necessary things that you will need in your kitchen for Thanksgiving, and you bundle it all together so people can just come in and grab and go. The trick is with bundles, or what people think, is that you have to discount your bundle. So if the value of the things in the bundle are, let's say, $100, the inclination is to say that I'm going to sell this for $80 or $90, whatever you think that you need to discount your bundle. You don't have to discount your bundle because the value is in the bundle. So the value to the consumer is that you have created a really nice bundle for them that they don't need to think about, that they can come in and it has everything they need for whatever occasion, and that is the value. So don't discount your bundles. You've already done the work. You have put together a fantastic gift or whatever it is. So build bundles. And the other thing with bundles, similar to selling and starting with the higher amount, put together 3 levels of bundles. For that Thanksgiving example, put together your this is your good, better, best, right? So you got the best bundle, the good bundle, good, better, best. Anyways, people more often than not will go with that better. They will pick the middle of the price point. So if you don't give them the options, they're just going to go with one option. You give them 3, they more than likely are going to go for that middle. So put together 3 levels of bundles, and you'll sell that middle tier more often than not.
That is me as a customer.
Okay. Yeah, it's even if you're getting bids on your house, often people will say, I'm not going at the highest or the lowest, I'm going to go with that middle one. So it's just human nature to say, I don't need to spend that much, or I don't need to spend that little, we'll go in the middle. So take advantage of that in your own businesses. The next one is expanding your assortment mix. So again, I guess we'll go back to, the kitchen store. Can you also start selling a little bit of food? So you're kind of into kitchen utensils, but can you expand it a little bit and get into some food that makes sense? I'm a toy store, but I carry a couple of strollers for the people who might be coming in. They see I'm selling to kids. They are on vacation in Boston. They forgot their strollers. I sell a couple of strollers. You don't want to expand your assortment out of what would make sense. You don't want to confuse people about what they might find in their store. So you don't want to be completely not related, but you can just think about, can you just push it a little bit to expand the types of product offerings that are in your store, again, without confusing people. I have no idea what is going on in that store, what to expect there. You want them to know what to expect, but you can just, push it a little bit. So, you can work with your staff and you can say, hey, what is something that, and often your customers will give you this answer. You can, if you're listening to what your customers are coming in and asking you for, they're kind of telling you what types of things they might have expected in this store. So if you start really listening, and we do that sometimes, my staff will say, we've had a lot of people coming in and asking for X or Y. So one will tell you they're having a hard time finding it nearby, right? And that becomes your opportunity to be like, oh, all right, we've been asked for this a couple of times. Does that make sense for our store? And, sometimes it will and sometimes it won't. So, those are some of the easier or quicker ways that I see in expanding the average sale per customer. Wondering between, raising prices, teaching your staff to sell, building some bundles if people feel like they might be able to increase their sales just by 5%. I think the raising prices alone, if you just went back and tried to get that $1 or $2, there could be more than 5%, but just curious if people feel like they could increase their sales by 5% implementing any of these.
Go ahead and throw a quick answer now. I do.
Okay. Yeah, some of these are really quick and easy and things that literally you can do with just going back to your store, today, basically. So,
another quick question. Any book recommendations for teaching how to sell or other resources?
Yeah, I do. Within my store, I use something called the Retail Sales Academy, and it is offered. So, I'm trained through Whizbang, and they have a very comprehensive Retail Sales Academy. I personally use it. It is online, and it is amazing, and it is one of the things that is really great about it. It is not you harping on your staff, so it doesn't become this adversarial. It's continuing education, similar to it's education the way we're doing it here today. I take the Retail Sales Academy. So, and I would urge any owner to, if they do decide to invest in some sales training, that they do it as well. We all did it, we do it together, we talk about it together, we admit what is hard about it together, we role play together, so that it becomes like an acknowledgement that this can be hard sometimes. It's not natural for everybody. So I am happy, and after, I'd be more than happy to talk about the Retail Sales Academy. It is one of the best investments that I've made for my business. So, and Laura, you did say I would get some email, because I can send that through a link to everybody if they wanted to look into it more. So, okay, great. All right, number 2, getting new customers. All right, so a quick show of hands. Tell me how many people on the line are using coupons to entice people to their business. I'm going to let you know this is a little bit of a trick question. So.
Are you using coupons? Yes or no? I see one hand up.
All right, well, I won't. All right, well, I'll break the suspense. Don't use coupons.
Yeah, I don't discount them.
Okay, all right, so don't use coupons, and so that is good. But you should be using gift certificates, and we are going to be spending a little bit of time here talking about gift certificates. But I don't want you to use the word coupons, because people treat coupons like trash, and they treat gift certificates like cash. It is a really simple, it's just a phrasing, but coupons feel like trash to people. But if you are given a gift certificate, that feels like real money. So it's just semantics, but change every coupon to a gift certificate, and it changes the perception. So where should you be giving gift certificates to your customers? We could just jump to number 6, which is basically everywhere. But at my store, I give it out. I have them in my wallet. All of my staff has them in their wallets. If someone says, where do you work? I work at Boeing Toy Store. Oh, I've never been to Boeing Toy Store. My staff has $10 gift certificates in their wallet. And they say, hey, you've never been there? Please come. Here's $10 for your first visit. So now we're going back to that earlier key concepts of, breaking even. So I am basically investing $10 to someone who says they have never been to my store. So it's very simple, and they're like, wow, this is great. And they love it when they're given, a $10 gift certificate. You can walk your business district. You have people who are working all around you. You have staff and owners all around your business district. You can walk in there and you can give them gift certificates to your store and encourage them Even if these people don't live in your neighborhood, since they're working here, they might want to come to your store to buy a gift or whatever it is that you're selling. So be generous with your fellow business owner and the staff around you. Local nonprofits, there's something called cause marketing, and we'll be talking about cause marketing. I'll touch on it here quickly. This is where you partner with a local nonprofit. You give them a $5 or $10 gift certificate to give out to all of their customers. They're encouraged to come in, and when they use that gift certificate, you donate a percentage. I would argue that it should be 20% of their total purchase back to the local nonprofit. So they send the gift certificates to their customer or their supporters. They come in, shop with you, you turn around and you make a donation back to the nonprofit. But again, that's that sort of givers get. You get the PR, the goodwill, and that sort of thing. And you also hopefully will get some new customers that you wouldn't normally be able to reach. Consumer shows, networking events, again, just very generously give out these gift certificates because, again, you never know. All you need is one person or two people or 10 people who have never shopped at your store to come in and you get their lifetime value.
Do you track them at all?
Yeah, absolutely track them, mark them. If you are printing them, we sometimes print them out just for a particular event, and then you can put a notation on the bottom. At a bare minimum, we will put a Sharpie down the side so that you know all the ones that come back with a little purple dot on them. But yes, you absolutely want to track how they are redeemed. So how much should your gift certificate be for? Well, there's no real answer to this. You could ask yourself, what am I willing to invest to get this customer's lifetime value? In the florist example, you could argue if you are going for that high-end customer that had the higher customer lifetime value, you'd give more. At a minimum, I would say you should figure out what is your average sale and then what's your margin on that. So for us, we basically give out $10 gift certificates so that I'm not losing anything. I'm covering my margin, but again, I'm just wanting new customers. And the only job of marketing is to get people in the door. So if these gift certificates get people in the door, it's done its job. And then my sales with their sales staff, with their sales training, capture the lifetime value. So how much fine print should your gift certificates have? I could ask people to put it in the side, but we're actually a little bit tight for time. So I will just go ahead and give you the answer. The only fine print that your gift certificate should have is please only one per customer. No expiration date, no spend $25, get $10 off. Because remember, this is a gift. You are being generous. You are using the givers get mentality that if you give someone something, it will come back to you. So you don't want to require them to spend a certain amount with you in order to get this gift, because then really it's no longer a gift. It's no longer about them, it's now about you. And people know that when you require them to spend $25, they immediately see that you're just trying to recapture your costs. They know that you basically haven't given them much because you're requiring them to spend more. So make it a gift and do it in the spirit of generosity because you know it's going to come back to you. And the only reason why I say do one per customer, please, because let's say you give a gift certificate out, and I've done this. I just gave out 500 of them for an end of year youth baseball picnic. I gave them 500. What I did not want to have happen is that some person run around and say, are you ever going to go to Boeing? No. Can I have your gift certificate? Are you ever going to go to Boeing? You don't want people collecting them all and then someone coming in with 500. So this does protect you from that scenario, but other than that, you are putting no other fine print. The only exception to that is with that cause marketing, when you're partnering with a nonprofit, because that is more of a fundraising model, and you actually want to put some urgency on it. It's really for the nonprofit's sake. You're actually trying to get people to come in and spend it because you're raising money. So that is the only time to put an expiration date, because again, it is, you don't want 3 years from now. I mean, you want to actually cut the check to the nonprofit soon, right? So that's the only time to put an expiration date. But is there any questions or comments about that in the?
No.
Okay. Okay, one thing, and you had asked about tracking. One thing I really do love about gift certificates, unlike some other marketing, if you put an ad in the paper or you do a radio spot, marketing is notoriously hard to track. People don't walk in the door very often and say, hey, I saw your ad in X or Y, that's why I'm here. So you don't always know. But since these gift certificates are coming back to you, and you've marked them and you've tracked them, you literally know what worked and what didn't, right? And then you know what to do again. And that's what I'm saying. You should play around with the denomination. Is it $5, $10, $50? So play around with it. Different amounts. Make your coupons different sizes. So you can really play around with it until you figure out what works. So that's what I do love about it. It's very immediate. You know what's working and what's not. So this is just an example. This is Cloud9 pajamas. These are all of the gift certificates. Not even all. All that they had on their desk at the time they did it. But you can see $20 off, 25, 10. And they're just playing around with different ways to settle in with what works. All right, so that is gift certificates. Next, in terms of getting new customers, is what I'm calling shareable social media ideas. And I guess the other thing, going back to gift certificates, they don't have to be, totally fancy. And this is a point that I forgot to say, people get nervous. Like when I said that I gave out 500 $5 gift certificates. No, $10 gift certificates. So that was $5,000. Like that feels really scary. Like, oh my gosh, I'm giving out $5,000. I'm actually not giving out anything until it comes back to my store, right? So it feels like, oh my goodness, I'm totally exposed. I'm donating $5,000. But you're not donating anything until they come back in. And it's actually amazing. Like getting a 10% redemption rate is actually pretty high, even when you've given it to people. I mean, they lose them or what have you. But again, I am more than happy to pay $10 for the hope of getting that lifetime value. So, and if I went to 500 because I had tested smaller amounts. I mean, believe me, the first time I gave out, it was like, oh my gosh, is this like, am I going to be flooded? But again, it's only $10 per person, and I would be happy to invest $10 to get a new customer. So,
if there's a question, if you use a dollar amount for a gift certificate, can you have a minimum purchase?
I mean, that kind of goes back to like not requiring, and like that feels very similar to me of $10 off if you spend $25. So that feels the same to me as that. Again, I think you're trying to get people to walk through the door. And then the rest, if you do the rest of it right and you provide a positive customer experience, they will come back. But you're trying to get them through the door. You can't do any of that unless you get them through the door. And in my mind, investing $10 to get a potential new customer, that's pretty cheap. If you could acquire a customer for $10, or for me, $10, it might be $20 for you or $50, depending on what type of product you sell. But even still, if you're just covering your costs of your average sale, so it is kind of like giving away that first transaction. It's that breaking even on the front end to break the bank. So you're kind of giving away that first transaction. But again, if you've done the rest of your job right, they'll come back and you'll get that lifetime value. So, all right, shareable social media. These are really, well, this is free ways to try to attract new customers. This is the front porch. Spring Lake is up in Michigan. They have this sign outside of their store, and it just says, if your name is Alex, your ice cream cone is free today. So every day they change the name, and if someone comes by or drives by and they see their name on the front of this ice cream shop, they come in and they get a free ice cream cone. But what it is, it's more than that. You can see that this particular one was shared 87 times. People are tagging their friend Alex. It improves your Facebook algorithm because people are engaging with this post. And more than anything, people love it, right? People will drive by every day to see if their name is on the front sign. You know, it's just a fun, relatively inexpensive way to engage people with your business. This is my store. We happen to do two names, and this was just one for May. But you know, in the first week that we were doing it, and increased our Facebook engagement went through the roof. People stop me in the street saying they love it. Their kids are insisting on walking by the store every day to see if their name is on the store. And we're building this emotional bank account with our customer. We're going to be talking about emotional bank account a little bit later, but it's basically just promoting this goodwill. We have people who come in, their name is George. We tell them, sometimes it's adults, we tell them that they can pick something out of our bins, and often they don't even take it. They just get such a kick out of the fact that they saw their name on the front of the store. And again, it's just being generous. It's that givers get. It's fun. It's easy. And even if your store would not normally, I mean, I'm giving away things that are like $5 and under. If you're not the type of store that has a $5 and under, you could just buy something just for this game. You know what I'm saying? You could just make a purchase. And again, it's just about getting people to walk through my doors and making people happy. And it will come back around. Obviously, sometimes people do more than just get the free bin item, but they remember that we gave them a gift. So, I think that's a really easy way to both increase your social media engagement and build that goodwill with your customers. Just quickly on local search, this is just sort of a gut check to make sure that you know how you are showing up online and how people are finding you. If your Google business page is up to date, if you have loaded in all the brands that you're selling, because more and more people, you know, might be searching on a particular brand. Like if you're that type of store where brand is important, you know, for me, it's Lego, it's the Pandora bracelets, it's the, I'm forgetting what the other ones, but the other thing too is, you know, people more and more are searching on sort of near me. So make sure that all of your location information is up to date and that you're tagging yourself by location, because people more and more are saying pizza near me, you know, flowers near me. So make sure that all your location-based stuff is up to date and you've got the appropriate tags on your website that you're going to show up when people are searching. So
there's a question here. Have you heard of Pointy?
Pointy.
Do you think it's a good idea?
Yep, Pointy. We could definitely talk a couple minutes about Pointy. Pointy is fantastic if people haven't heard about Pointy. So if you go to your Google listing, and what is the language there? It says, what's in store? I think when you Google your business, over on the right-hand side, it's going to say, what's in store? And so Google is now putting products on your Google listing page. And the way that they are getting your product information is through a service called Pointy. So Pointy is very easy to use. It just connects to your bar scanner on your cash register. And if you are using manufacturer SKUs, Pointy is doing the match. So all you need to do is search the manufacturer SKU, and it just populates a Pointy store for you. There's a little bit of an upfront investment in the technology, but it literally plugs into your bar scanner. It's like plug and go. But after that, they basically do the work for you. If anyone wants to see what Pointy looks like, you can go to Boing Toy Shop in the Google. I was an early adopter of Pointy, actually, and you will see on the right-hand side some products that I carry. But when Google is looking at this as a little bit of a competitor to Amazon, obviously, and they are trying to keep people on the Google page instead of going over to Amazon to buy things. Google is also deciding through this Pointy partnership that they are supporting local independent businesses. So Google, if someone says Legos near me, my Google listing says that I have Lego. And so Google has decided, you know what, I'm going to send people to Boing Toy Shop to buy Lego instead of over to Amazon. So they're going to put my listing up higher because they want people to stay on Google and see that it's available locally. So Pointy is a fantastic, and Google has decided to partner up with them. They were fantastic before the Google partnership. Google, seeing its potential, became sort of a game changer for Pointy. So thank you for the Pointy question. All right, quickly, advertising. I don't want to spend too much other time in terms of getting new customers here on advertising. We kind of know all of these things. The only thing that I want to say about this is about direct mail. So direct mail is making a comeback. We all feel it in our own lives. Email is becoming the new direct mail. Like how many emails, how many unopened emails do we all have in our inboxes that we just don't open and we don't want to? So email is becoming the sort of new spam, or even if it's not landing in your spam box, it's even people that you might know and you're not opening it. So people are opening their mail again because they're not getting any of it. So when they actually get a piece of mail from a business or a person they know, it's like so exciting, like, oh, I know this person, and they're opening it. I'm not suggesting that everybody just run out and do direct mail, but it's just an interesting that the pendulum is swinging back. And if you can afford, or if it works for your business, people are opening their mail. So that's all I'll sort of talk about on that page. All right. So now we've talked about increasing average sale. We've now talked about getting new customers through gift certificates and some fun social media games, and maybe even through this Pointy connection. So hopefully we've done the first 5. We got the next 5. And now let's move on to the third. So number 1, increasing your average sales, sort of fastest and easiest, because you're just going to increase your prices and you're going to bundle some things together. Getting new customers, definitely the hardest and most expensive to get people to come in. So now let's talk about number 3, which is the best way to increase your sales. And this is more transactions for customers, because you already have them as a customer. You're already over the hump. They're a customer. Now you just need to get them to come in more frequently. So let's talk about some of the ways we can do that. The job is to make your store sticky, meaning they come back, they can't leave, they love you, they want to come back, they're thinking about you all the time. So that's the goal of what the stuff that we're going to talk about here. Number 1 is to give them an amazing customer experience. The first time they walk through, you are customer focused and customer centric. You have a philosophy that's customer focused. You're generous. You are doing what is best for them and not what is best for you necessarily, meaning you're not protecting yourself. You are generously giving to your customers, and you are welcoming them into your business. Then you have policies that are customer forward or customer centric, meaning you know, you have a generous return policy. You're taking Amex. If they want to pay you by Amex, take the Amex. Like if a customer is pulling a card out and says, I want to pay you with this, you know, take it. Allow them to pay you any way that they want to pay you. I would argue if you have a bathroom, let your customers use your bathroom. Don't send them out the store down to a competitor, or maybe they'll never come back. If you have a bathroom, I really urge you to allow your customers to use it. They wouldn't be asking you for a bathroom if they didn't really need it. So, you know, and then obviously you have, is your staff well trained? Are they giving good customer experience? Is your store clean and well organized? And is there enough room for strollers and wheelchairs to get through? And then of course the top of the pyramid is like, what is that wow moment that you just really have them for life? So I would say in terms of getting them to come in more often, starts with that initial customer experience. Oh, went the wrong direction. All right, so once you get them in and you've given them a good experience, now you need their contact information, because once you have their contact information, now you're in control of the relationship, meaning you can communicate with them. If they only come in once and leave and you don't know who they are, you can't communicate and try to get them to come back. So if you don't have this already, you have to create a loyalty program. Any loyalty program is better than no loyalty program at all. It is your loyalty program that is going to get their contact information. So if you don't have one, I urge you to really think about getting one in place. I'm going to quickly talk about what I consider to be the best type of loyalty program, which is called the Sixpack loyalty program. And it is the only loyalty program that I know of that rewards the two important behaviors, both buying more in terms of a dollar value, but also buying more often. Lots of loyalty programs will just reward you after you've spent a certain amount. But there are some people that might not have a lot of disposable income or the ability to spend a lot, but they spend with you frequently. And through their frequency of buying, they are saying to you, hey, you are important. Like, I love your store. I come here as often as I can. I might not be able to be a big spender, but I come here frequently. And that should be rewarded, because that is a very good customer if you're getting a lot of their purchases. So the Sixpack loyalty program works like this. And you can do this on index cards. It doesn't have to be anything super fancy. You get 6 boxes literally on a card, and each time they make a purchase, you fill in what their pre-tax spend was. You write it in there. Of course, you get their name, email address, because that's what you want. You want their contact information. And after they have filled out their 6 boxes, you give them back 10%. 10% of their total. So for one person, it might be $33, and for another person, it's $333. But the point is after they have come in 6 times, they feel rewarded. I think there's a lot of people, myself included, have joined these loyalty programs, and they don't even know. It's like you go forever and you don't ever feel like you get anything. Sometimes I'm like, can you remind me, what is your reward program? Because I never feel rewarded. The whole point of a rewards program and a loyalty program is actually to reward your customers. So this is a great way after 6 times.
Is this 10% as store credit, or is it money?
No, so that is store credit. Yeah. So you are basically saying 10% off.
Yep.
I'm going to move through here just a little bit faster. You also, when you do the reward program, you can come up with just you want to add lots of sort of low cost, high value benefits. You can do member only type things, some monthly drawings to people who are in your loyalty program. There's tons of possibilities, but there's other things you can throw in there to round out your reward program to make it valuable to customers. This is just a couple of examples. This is, the Bird House. Basically, it's the Bird Bucks Club, and they did something fancier, and you just fill in the 6 purchases there. This is just someone else. Literally, they're doing it on these index cards. Doesn't have to be anything fancy. Customers come in and they get excited. They go up to their card. They know exactly how many. I mean, the great thing about it is they know how many purchases they've made, and they know what the reward is that's about to come back. It's very, you know, they're very much in control of it. This person, Ann Schneider at the front porch, there are 24,000 index cards in there. 24,000. But, you know, people, the first thing they do, the really thing that's really nice about it too, when people go and get their cards and they're walking around the store, it immediately identifies them as someone who's been at your store before. So you immediately know who's been here, and you don't need to ask them, are you in the reward program, because it's in their hands. So it kind of gives you a way to identify your different types of shoppers too. So, all right, so that's loyalty programs. Put one in, like I said, any program is better than no program. I really like the 6-box program. So just a reminder, the goal of is to get customers to come back again and again. Ultimately, that's your goal. There's 2 ways of doing that. One is just they think of you automatically. You are just the top of mind person. When they think flowers or they think kitchenware, they think of you. It just comes from within them. And the other way is you're actually doing promotions and special events, and you're inviting them back to the store. So one's internal, one's external. You know, this top of mind awareness, we know all these things, you know, a bunch of different ways that you can get them, you know, to think of you. Once you do get their contact information, you need to communicate with them. As Bob Nagan, who actually is the head of whiz-bang training, said, it's not your customer's job to remember you, it's your job to be remembered. So it is on you to communicate with them. Content is important, obviously. Make it meaningful and make it memorable. But now let's just talk about this emotional bank account. Often stores will send out newsletters and it's all about the store. We're doing this promotion, we're doing that, come in and see us. It's all sort of me, me, me. Come in and see me, which is obviously a way of asking for more business. Come in and spend more money at my store, right? It should be about the customer. Some people will say that for you need to make 9 deposits in the emotional bank account. Basically, give the customer 9 things before you ask for 1 withdrawal. I'm sort of probably more on like the 7 to 1, but the point being, every communication should not be about come to us, spend more money, we want more of your money. It's giving them something. You're building that emotional, it's a relationship, like any relationship. So what are some of the things that you can do? You can give them tips on how to keep flowers alive, or safety tips for children. If you're a kitchen store, you can give them a recipe, or even for me, slime was a really big thing. So we would put in recipes for slime, how to make slime at home, right? You can just do pictures, you can do inspirational quotes. It's any sort of thing, but again, you're just giving them something that is of interest to them. Or so like it says there, a solution to their problem. But again, it's not just asking them and enticing them to come back and spend with you. So that's sort of that top of mind stuff where you're staying in front of them with information that is important to them. Now we're going to run through, we have about, I guess it looks about 6 or 10 more minutes, I guess. These are some promotions and special events they can do. This is now that external where you are sort of trying to get them to come back into your store with some promotions and special events. The first thing I'll say, it says here, before you do any promotion or special event, first you need to understand what your purpose is. Why are you doing it? Are you trying to get existing customers to come back in? Are you just trying to build relationships? Is it just a goodwill, emotional bank account type event? Are you trying to attract new people into your store? Are you just trying to get email addresses, which, you know, are you just looking for publicity? Is this something you could send out a PR, something to the local newspaper to get some publicity? Do you just need the cash, right? Or are you just trying to reduce inventory? All of these would lead you to a different type of event. So it's important to know, why are we doing this event? I mean, if it's just activity, I mean, that's fine, but you should always know why you're doing it first and then design the event around that. Very often people design an event and they just kind of back into like, oh, what is the benefit of this event? And I would argue, know first, hey, we need to get, we're a little overstock. We need to get rid of some inventory. Okay, that's one type of event. So start first with what's the purpose and then create your promotion or your event. I'll run through a few things here. Obviously a sale, and I'm going to say that you should not be having multiple sales a year. Again, we talked about it. Don't compete on price. Don't train your customers that things are going to go on sale. If you do want to have a small sale section for slightly damaged things in your store, I mean, that's a different thing than doing a store-wide sale. Most of the things in your business don't deserve to be on sale. Again, we're talking about value pricing. They are perfectly well priced at what they are. They don't deserve to go on sale. So don't train your customers to always be looking for the next sale. But sometimes you need to have a sale, you know, so a sidewalk sale, clearance sale. This summer solstice sale is amazing. And if there's anyone on this, so basically the way the summer solstice sale works, and you could probably do it for winter solstice, but you basically say, for everyone who's waiting, you open your store early on the longest day of the year, and you say, for everyone who is in line starting at 5 o'clock, from 5 to 6, our store will be 50% off. From 6 to 7, it will be 40% off. From 7 to 8, it'll be 30% off. It's totally fun. People love it. Obviously, not everyone's gonna, you know, get up that early, but you give people who are waiting in line, everyone who is in line between 5 and 6, they get like a pink card. So, you know, those are your 50% off people. So they don't need to be in and out of the store between 5 and 6. It's not the time they get to the register. But then the next group of people, they get another color card, and then, you know, the next. And it's just fun, and people enjoy it. Some people will then do it on the other end of the day too, and then go from 6 to 7 at night, you know, so they work the other end of the night too. But some stores, there was a store up in Canada that had done average sales day was about a $3,000 sales day, had done $13,000 by the time their store normally would have opened. And that was with the discounts, meaning, so it was like $20,000 a sale. People just love the idea of it. Not a lot of people are doing it. So I really like that one. You know, specials, the purpose here is just to drive traffic to your store and reduce inventory. So if people go to trade shows, sometimes people will go and they'll actually go to a trade show just looking for something that's on clearance, or, you know, that manufacturers trying to get rid of, and they'll do a special just around 1 or 2 items. Off-sites, you know, a lot of people going to off-sites can be really time consuming, and it feels like it's not worth all the effort to get there. But I would argue, if you're looking to get new customers, if you can get yourself to maybe the next neighborhood or into a place that people might not normally know of you, that is one of the best places to go get new customers, is if you can get out of your immediate neighborhood and try to reach a new audience. And then, of course, building your list. Those are brand new emails for you to add to your list. So again, they can be tiring, but if they're done well, you can really reach a new audience. Sometimes you just do value-added type events, relationship builders, you know, the photos with Santa, or, you know, mini makeovers. These are just little ideas, but even just a gift with purchase, you know, just something small that's unexpected, and it's just building a relationship. Cause marketing, we had talked about that before, you know, but that's where you are just looking to build relationships and getting the publicity for supporting a local nonprofit. These are just, you know, if you're the type of store that can have a club, you know, Lego club or trunk and fashion shows, or even classes. Some stores have room for classes and seminars. But again, these are just some of the types of events that you can have, and again, the reasons why you're having them. and they're all valid and they're great if you know why you're doing it. So, so there, we have gotten our 3 pieces of the pie. We've increased our average sale, we've gotten new customers, and we've gotten more transactions per customer. So again, sort of reminding us that if you put some of these tips and tricks in place, hopefully you could go back to your store, increase your sales, and sorry, my buzzer went off. So just towards the end here, so, you know, we all spent the last hour and 15 minutes educating ourselves, which is great. I would encourage you, if people were taking notes, to take a look at what you've written down and commit to taking some action, even just 3 of them. Look at your list, look at your top 3 and say, I am going to try this. Because, you know, education without action is just entertainment. So,
and these suggestions are really actionable. You know, they're for the most part easy to implement.
Well, and that's what, I mean, I really didn't talk about, I mean, there was nothing here where I said, take a radio ad. I mean, it's all, it is, I mean, that is sort of the purpose here. These are sort of low cost. I mean, obviously some of them require a little change in thinking. I mean, some of it is almost like the mental inertia, but nothing here said, do anything big or expensive. It was just, you know, changing and just in adding to what you're currently doing. So I do have a couple more slides just quickly. So, I mean, I am a retail coach. There are some things, if anyone is interested in learning more, one of the big things that I do push, and this is what I use to build my business, is something called the Retail Mastery System. It is the 11 essential skills to running a successful retail business. What we talked about today is one of the 11 modules, and it's not even everything within the 11 modules. It's this marketing module is actually what we were talking about today. Every single one of these modules has just as much actionable, quick information that you can implement. So if you are sort of feeling like you could use some help or support in any of these areas, I would love to talk to you. I will send you some information on this later on that, but I can promise you it will take years off your learning curve. And there are just so many. What I love about Whiz-Bang, which is who I chose to train through as a retail coach, is everything is as quickly implementable. That's not the right word, but you know, it is as quick as what we learned today. It's not these like, oh, it's going to take you 6 months and you have to invest all this time. It's quick. It is very realistic, understanding that retail business owners have a lot on their plate. So anyways, with that, I thank you again for having me. It was great. And this is my contact information if anyone wants to write it down, and I would be happy to talk to anyone if they're feeling like they could want to talk more or have any other questions. I will send out this, I will be sending this out to you later, and I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Great. Yeah, thank you so much, Kim. This was excellent. This was really awesome. You know, actionable. I think a lot of new and fresh ideas. There are definitely some chats coming through that seemed really excited.
Okay,
about,
great.
Trying some of these out. So
yeah.
Yes, we'll do a contact information exchange after. Kim will share the slides. The recording of this will also be posted on iConnect by tomorrow. So if you do want to come back to any of these ideas, you can view the recording there. And thank you all for your time and your participation. I really appreciate it.
All right. Thanks, everyone.
Have a great rest of your day.